Well, good morning. This is me, Ma. I'm going to do something a little bit different today, and I'm going to title it Finding Something Along the Way. And the reason that I'm calling it that is because right in the middle of doing all these videos and looking for stuff, I found an article that I wrote in 1968. And the reason that I felt like the Lord wanted me to share it with you was I had told you that I didn't have any talents to give to the Lord, and I didn't think I did. And I didn't even realize it after I wrote this article. But Fred had come in, I might have even mentioned this to you. He came in one day and he says, Bethesda News wants me to write an article about myself so that they can put in the paper, so write it. And I said, I don't know how to write anything. And so he said, well, you won't have to do it. I got time, and you do it. So I prayed, Lord, help me. So I wrote this article, and I thought that it was really good to share it with you because it was the first time that I ever wrote an article. And when I got through, I thought, well, this is pretty good. But I still didn't even think, I didn't think I'd ever even use a talent of writing again in my life. So this is a story that I wrote about Fred, and I think it'll give you greater insight into who he was. I hope you'll be blessed by what I share. And it was written for the Bethesda News, so it was going out to the alumni at Bethesda. Most of you, meaning Bethesda boys, have experienced the tragic loss of one or more of your parents, the breaking up of your homes, and the separation from loved ones. It was just such a crushing blow that hit the lives of the O'Berrys in 1934. A family of moderate means living their everyday lives when the father had to have a minor operation, a tonsillectomy. There were complications. Mr. O'Berry took sick on Fred's 9th birthday, and 6 days later he was dead. There was a sister in her teens, Fred 9 and Billy 22 months younger. Times were hard, and during the Depression, and it wasn't but a short time before all the insurance money was used up. Thank God that there was Bethesda. Naturally, it was hard for Mrs. O'Berry to send her oldest son away from her, and it was hard on Fred having to leave his family and friends to go and live with complete strangers after just losing a father who was so close to him. All of his security was stripped away in one quick movement. He came to Bethesda alone as his brother was sick at home and didn't come to the home until later. It was frustrating for a young boy. He felt so alone, no one to whom he could turn to for the love, affection, and comradeship that had existed between him and his father. Slowly but surely, the wonderful people at Bethesda restored his sense of security. Gradually, the boys became family, and life took on a whole new meaning. He had found a home. There were chores to do: milking, plowing, putting up fences, all the aspects of farming, and mountains of dishes to do. The boys did them all. There was responsibility for your personal property, for your cleanliness, your health, and for the smaller boys. There were the good times, too, and surely no boy that lived with their parents ever did as many adventurous things, made as many ingenious means of enjoyment, or had more fun than these boys. There was school and studies. There was church, and there was a time for reverence. During these years, he was taught discipline, integrity, to carry his share of the load, to be fair-minded in his dealings, and have respect for others. He was taught sportsmanship, and the will to win was instilled in him. The team he played football with at Bethesda was undefeated due to this will to win. They were not physically superior, but they had inferior equipment, and they were playing barefooted or in brogans, while their opponents had uniforms and football shoes. But win they did. Fred is talented in so many ways, and whatever he's endeavored to do, he's given it his very best. And this is why he was always excelled in sports. It is a challenge he attacks with all he has, and the will to win sport that has been with him since Bethesda days sees him to the top. One of the greatest challenges in sports that Fred has tackled in his adult life is pistol shooting. His love for guns was probably inherited from his father, who was a great hunter. He first shot the pistol in competition in 1949. Since that time, he has literally won hundreds of trophies. Some of these trophies that were the greatest thrill to win were Police Pistol Championship of Georgia twice, first in the class of the Georgia State Championship, High Civilian South Carolina State Championship twice, High Civilian at the Dixie Matches in Jacksonville, Florida several times, and winning a place on the Georgia State team every time he tried. A person with less determination would have had little chance of winning because there was no local range. He had little time to practice, and all of the competition matches were held out of town. Many times, after working until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday night and sleeping until 6 o'clock Sunday morning, he has driven to Jacksonville to shoot in a match starting at 10, and under these circumstances still won the match. He's had 2 major operations in the past 5 years, which has caused his shooting score to drop, and recently he was involved in an automobile accident and was injured to the extent that he's had to give up pistol shooting. But in December of 1966, he decided that skeet shooting would be a challenge, and he's tackled it with the same zeal and determination that he did with anything he starts, and he's already won 1 match and placed in 2 others. And I'm confident that he will be shooting with the best of them in the near future. Almost everyone in Savannah knows Fred O'Berry. He has a smile and a kind word for them, but few know the heartbreak, disappointment, and pain he had suffered, thanks again to Bethesda, because that's where he learned to hide his hurts and overcome them by making the other fellow feel good. Losing a father when you feel you need him most is a tragedy, but having a place like Bethesda to be raised is wonderful. Fred has often remarked that his mother placing him at Bethesda was the best thing that could have happened to him. If Bethesda has made him the warm, tender, and sensitive man that I know as my husband and the loving, devoted father of my child, then I too must pay my tribute and respects to Bethesda by Mrs. Fred O'Berry. So I hope you enjoyed it, because a lot of people don't know what it's like to live at a boys' home, but it was a blessing to Fred. And I hope you've understood him a little bit better and can understand, like God taught me to understand, that he had so many things to overcome, that he did an awesome job with what he did have to overcome. Thank you. So listen, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks.